Cuz what it do? Happy Jupiter Day, the day of expansion. I'm here to talk about the Libra new moon solar eclipse that's occurring on October 2nd at 10 degrees of Libra. I hope that your head didn't get too knocked in between the washer and dryer for the first eclipse. I'm a Pisces moon, so I'm accepting donations for the survival. I should mark myself safe because I survived the Pisces lunar full moon eclipse. All Pisces placements should. But I trust that it wasn't too volatile for you. Depending on upon how you deal with internal introspection, depending on how you deal with your emotions and how you do with having to sit down and deal with the uncomfortable and with the truth and the diminishing of the illusions that maybe have misled you to getting here. The delusions that may be you may be the delusional one. The reason why it cannot go the way you want it to go because you have not been moving in the right um, proximity or principality of your energy. So, as with all eclipses, you can feel them 3 weeks before, residually 6 weeks to 6 months after, depending upon where it affects you in your chart for the rest of your life. You also can feel them for a calendar year unfolding and making more sense or becoming a little less traumatizing as they may have been when they first ensued. This eclipse that we are in I've been calling it the eclipse intermission. If you've been getting a reading from me, that's what I'm calling this period that we're in. If you've ever gone to a play or to the opera, they perform, they give you a show, part one, and then go out, go to the bathroom, eat your snacks, whatever, talk to your friends, and then we're going to come back in for part two. But that's going to be your intercession, your recess for a while we get ready. So that's where we are now with the eclipses. And this maybe is the time where you're really just starting to feel the impacts of the first eclipse, depending upon where it was in your chart. And I have to point out that no matter where it is in your chart, if you feel like wherever Pisces was in your chart and you're like, oh, I don't have any Pisces placements, you're not null and void from eclipse action. No one is null and void from eclipse action. There are people who don't believe in astrology that are being affected by astrology. So it doesn't matter what you have when it comes to the eclipse. The eclipse is going to still come through like a street sweeper and move some things around and get them out the way. So this is where you may now start to be feeling the impacts of the first eclipse. You may be sleepy. Like I said in the previous recording, you may feel like you need just a little extra time, especially my women who, depending upon where you are in your cycle, these eclipses have profound impact on us mentally, spiritually, physically, all of that. So make sure that you are taking the time for reserve and self nourishment and rest and rejuvenation so that you're not getting bum rushed, so to say. As we're in this eclipse intercession as well, you want to take it as it comes, and if it leaves, let it go. Don't spend too much time trying to investigate it with your small little light or go through it with a fine tooth comb. Just let it be what it's going to be. A lot of people are irritated right now. Lots of like irritability. Don't take it personal. It has nothing to do with you. Remember, we're all going through the eclipse journey. We're going through it at different times. And when you don't believe in astrology, and this is why I love that the Most High programmed me to always deal with the taboo subject. When you don't know about astrology, this is when you can feel like you're losing your shit. You don't know what's going on. You can't get, ahead, or depending on what side you're on of the eclipse, you're like, oh my God, this is the best time ever in my life. I cannot believe that this is happening for me. Yes, it is divine intervention, but it is also divine alignment with the astrological interventions as well. So the Libra new moon solar eclipse is going to be October 2nd at 10 degrees of Libra. It is the last eclipse of the year. It's also the last Libra eclipse of the Aries Libra series that began last July. So it's been a very phenomenal transformation for you. Don't try to deny it. If you're still bitter about the things that had to change, just know that they had to go, or you maybe wouldn't be here right now. It had to change, or who you are right now would not exist. That 10th degree is the Capricornian degree. So there's Capricorn, Saturn just showing his face again, his handsome face throughout the entire year, because this is the year 8. And we started the year out with the new moon Capricorn. Our last new moon of the year will be a new moon in Capricorn. Then we had those 2 back-to-back Capricorn full moons, June and July of this year, 30 days away from each other. And Saturn's in Pisces and has been there for a year and is retrograde in Pisces right now, which is supplying a grand water trine that we're going to talk about on Patreon. So make sure that you get over there for the subscription. All tiers get access to these readings. But it's such a monumental shift. It's the shift that you'll tell your grandkids about. It'll be the time that you remember when life changed. You remember where you were. And we're not just speaking about personally, because we're always speaking personally, but we're talking about look at the grand scale of things. You see how the entertainment industry is collapsing. If you've been on Patreon, I told you that these moments were coming. I told you exactly who was going to fall 3-4 years ago, because astrology never lies. So politicians are crumbling. Politics, everything is just dismantling, because the system has been ruling and reigning and ruining for far too long. So now we are in a new day and age. And if it's happening on the large scale, you already know what it's doing to you on your scale. So it's the last eclipse of the last Libra eclipse of the Libra Aries series. The next one will be in about 9 years. And it's the last eclipse of the year. Mercury moved into Libra today. The South Node is in Libra, has been there since last July. And now we will have a Libra new moon eclipse, solar, which sets fire to everyone's bridges, which illuminates everyone's anger and consciousness and excitement. Everyone. We're all on the same wavelength, but we're processing it differently under the solar eclipse. Here to balance some things out. And what I'm calling this reading is the Kismet Reconstitution, which is just a fancy word for karmic reset, baby. What has been done can no longer exist. What has been done has to be paid for. What has been done behind closed doors has to come to the surface. The last Libra new moon eclipse that we had at 10 degrees was 19 years ago, 2005. Who were you? Where were you? I was 20, and literally any and everything that I have manifested today, that I've attained today, that I do today, was stuff that I was setting intention, but I didn't know one thing about spirituality. I didn't know anything about manifestation. I just knew that there was a greater purpose. I just knew that I had a deeper connection than what I had been programmed and told. Huge dreamer. My boyfriend at the time used to tell me I was crazy for being a dreamer. You just believe in shit you can't even see. Well, here we are 19 years later. Everything has transpired. And what I mentioned earlier about not even knowing anything about astrology, people who don't believe in astrology, don't know about astrology, are being affected by astrology every minute of every day. That's why they say millionaires don't use astrology, but billionaires do. They have whole astrologers. They plan their year out by what their astrologer tells them is going to happen to them. So I say that to say this is a very magical, profound, ethereal time that you don't want to play with your energy. Don't play with your energy. Don't play with your focus. Don't play with your dreams. If you had it here, there's a reason why. There's a divine connection. Your future self is already living that life. Your higher self has already connected to it, has already tangibly touched it. So don't lose hope or lose sight of that. As I mentioned earlier, eclipses unfold for 12 months, but this one will specifically be unfolding for 12 months. Solar eclipses set fires that burn for 6 months. And then the 6 months after the burning fire you are left either with the cleanup or being grateful that you had something to keep you warm through the path of deep, dark transition. Libra's in the South Node, the outdated version of you. I do offer past life readings. I've been doing them for about 8 years. And one of the aspects that I interpret in your chart is in the South Node, your past life placement, who you used to be. And your life and goal purpose this lifetime is to move in your North Node energy so that you can transmute and transcend the lessons of your last lifetime and not repeat them. It gets really interesting when you have the same South Node as you have your rising sign of this lifetime, because you're like, oh, you're trying to be funny. Trying to be funny. I got to figure out the balance. I really have to figure out the balance of my light energy, my dark energy, when to move, how to move, when to talk, when not to. But they set fires that burn for 6 months, and then you spend the next 6 months after that trying to make sense of what just happened and giving gratitude for the ability to see and stay warm while it was transiting. All solar eclipses are new moons as well. So every solar eclipse is an opportunity for a new beginning. What, ready or not, here we come. You can't hide. You can't run. Like literally. You will have to be expanded. You will have to be upgraded. Things will have to change. But especially when we have all this monumental shift that we have with the outer planets happening. By next year, all of the outer planets will be different than what they have been for close to 200 years in one way or another. What a time to be alive. What a time to be aligned and ready to be changed and reprogrammed. The energy that's writhing through the universe right now is tangible but inexplainable. You're like, I can almost touch it. What they say? It's so close I can almost taste it. I can almost touch it, and I can't explain what it is. Something's happening, but I don't know what it is. But I'm excited, even though I'm a little over anticipatory of it, a little anxious that I don't know exactly what I'm going to do when I get there, because I don't know exactly what's going to happen. Like I said, with the Pisces full moon, that's when the miracle happens. The uncertainty, the moving with that energy of the universe so that you don't get rolled over by the universe is ultimately what you want to do. This is kind of like side information, but September 26th through like November 18th, I believe, we're going to have a second moon. I've been talking about on Patreon for years that there's a second planet here, like in our atmosphere. Michael Jackson talked about it too, but that. Just go on Patreon if you want to hear all that. But I'm just going to say this. It's been a long time since there's been a second planet, presence, asteroid, whatever you want to call it. Nibiru is what I like to reference it as. But when that happens, the growth and expansion and exposure and replenishment that has to happen because of the presence of what is with the planet attachment is almost tangible but unexplainable. So if you feel for a minute that it's a crock and it's a bullshit, oh, we always have eclipses, we always have full moons, no. This is a different transit, and every time is an opportunity for you to reset, reprogram, release, and relinquish some part of yourself. But this one, the big players have come to assist you. Pluto, Mars, Saturn, they're here to help you. Like the bridge, the Mario Kart bridge, Rainbow Bridge, to getting to the other side of your consciousness, of your life, of the love and the money and everything that you deserve and desire. Venus is in Scorpio. Now, why this matters is because the eclipse that's at play right now is ruled by Venus. The Libra eclipse is ruled by Venus. So Venus is really doing a song and dance with the depths of love and hurt and relationships and reciprocation in relationships and trauma and things that may have ensued to make you even be in the relationship that you're in or tolerate the relationship that you have been in. If you've been in a good relationship, but you guys have just been kind of in a rut or kind of stuck, this is the opportunity to completely emulsify what previously maybe was an obstacle and in your way. Better communication. Mercury's in Libra, South Node in Libra. Let go of the old shit. Don't keep arguing about old things. If you're choosing to stay, you're choosing to forgive. And if you're choosing to forgive, then you are choosing not to keep bringing that up every time that you get a chance. And if you feel like you can't forgive, then LIG it. Let it go. Because all you're going to do is make it worse and harder for both of you as time goes on. I'm going to tell y'all, like I told my ex-husband years ago, you deserve to be forgiven, but I'm not going to be able to forgive you. So we got to separate. Separate what we got to do. Facts. Because everyone deserves to be forgiven, but sometimes you got to decide if they deserve to be forgiven on your time, or do you even have the capacity to allow the forgiveness? Deep changes. Relationships that are at that weird stage, it's either going to have the resolve, like you're going to finally have the argument, you're going to finally have the conversation, you're going to finally have the hashing out, the resolve, the removal, or the replenishment is getting ready to happen with the relationships, depending on the status of the connection. And the beautiful thing about eclipses is you don't have to choose that you want to keep it. You don't want to choose that you want to leave it. What is supposed to happen will divinely occur, and you will be pushed out of the way. My favorite slogan that I've had for eclipses for at least 8 years. What occurs under eclipses will not be revisited, and you will not be able to reclaim it or remodify it. Oh, no. It came to be changed, and you will be changed. Patreon, I'm going to get into some extended stuff about love, getting into finances, deeper parts of the transit, the Grand Water Trine, which is really like the star player of this eclipse, and some cards. So make sure that you don't miss out on that. Thank you for joining me. The only way to connect with me is the link in my bio. That will take you to my Etsy shop, my Instagram, and my Patreon. I look forward to connecting with you in different ways. All love, all the time. Y'all be easy out there. Patreon, what it do, cousins? I am happy to always exchange energy with you. I hope that you've been doing well. I hope that the eclipses have been kind to you, my dears. Many of you have gotten personal readings, and most of y'all responses, I'm in tears. I can't believe